in there whose bio it says, when John Doe was with XYZ company, he grew their XYZ division from $100,000 in sales to $1 billion in sales in 2 years. Well, how the heck are you going to diligence that, right? How do you know if that's a true statement? What, are you going to call up the company you worked with and say, excuse me, could you please send me some stuff on, on John Doe's performance when he worked with your company? They're not going to give you that. You can't diligence it. So what you're relying on is what John Doe's telling you. He's joined your team recently as VP of Biz Dev, and he told you that he has taken XYZ company's sales from 100,000 to $1 billion in 2 years. But you can't diligence that. So you know what we tell you to do with that statement? 86 it. Get it out of there. You can't diligence it. It's not required. You can make statements about the person's had a lot of sales experience. There's ways you can present the information, but specific information like that, you can't diligence. You got to get rid of it because there's risk that it's not true. Last thing is disclosure versus access. If you're not using a PPM, you're using a business plan, you have to provide access if you don't provide disclosure. That's important. And that's why I think it's important to give your investors a little bit of time with your documentation to get to know you before you take your money. Because it's hard to defend a situation where you make a presentation to somebody, you take a check, you've had a relationship with them for what, 20 minutes, a half an hour, 2 hours? Have they really had access? Have they really had an opportunity to ask a lot of questions? Have they really had an opportunity to get to know your company and get to know the documents? No, give them some time, give them access. Let them know that, tell them.
Mine was about the things that you don't say to people. You don't make specific predictions is basically of the number one rule. So in the classes that we had the last couple times, a lot of people really did really good talks about their company, and they said, we're trying to raise this much money, and who wants to invest? Someone had one before, so let me be clear. This is educational purposes only. I'm going to butcher their whole deal. This has nothing related to it. But the guy who had the dig your car out or something, help me. Tow truck, I bought one, so, because I'm out in the boonies with my car doing all this stuff. He had the perfect speech, but he didn't tie it together right. He had one of the better value propositions. Again, I'm selling for him. I don't get any stock. This is for educational purposes. This is not a sales presentation. But he said, my company has won the product of the year, and he made all of the major car magazines, Motor Trend, Car and Driver, Road and Track, and he named 5 or 6 of them that were literally worth $1 million a pop, easily, just in the publicity you'd get being. That would have cost you to advertise in those magazines, paying for it, let alone having the editors of the magazine say how hot your product was. Then he came up with a clincher. He said, you can buy endorsements from NASCAR for $9 million. And a lot of people do that. However, to 2 or 3 or 4 products a year or every other year, they give a special award of merit that you cannot buy no matter what. That could be conservatively worth 14 or 15 million. So you take your 15 million for that. So let's pretend you want to set up a company and buy it. You could buy it. So he was at 15 and 6, 21 million. And then he said something, we're valuing our company at $9 million. And his next line should have been, who wants to invest? He didn't talk about, oh, I'm sorry, no, he didn't even say that. We had to ask him later, well, so you're pricing your shares at X dollars. What does that work out to a valuation? And it took him a little time, and maybe it didn't take him time, but in my mind, it took him time. Again, he's a great guy. I don't mean as pejorative, he's an example. That should have been a clincher. People should have been running after him. So we're using a pre-money valuation of $7 million, even though we have and you have a $15 million endorsement from NASCAR, the #1 sport in the world. We have these from Road and Track, but to be conservative, we're offering this round at a $7 million pre-money valuation. Investors can meet in my room afterwards. I mean, that's how you give that talk. I'm not talking about what my price of my stock's going to be. I'm not making predictions that, I mean, I've seen people do it years ago. Someone was the finance person for someone, said, for a time, in April 23rd, 2009, our share price is going to be $14.27. You can't know that. So one of those proverbial in conclusion, the whole purpose of this is to just alert you to the importance of asking for money. It's an easy way to do it. You don't have to start making predictions. You talk about, here's how we valued our company. Here's why we think it's a valuable. Use all the tools you've got here. But you've got to have the money conversation. Or frankly, you're wasting your time here. That's why I say this is the, what he used, pyramid, pinnacle. This is the pyramid class. Everything you've been doing is designed to get you to have that money conversation.